What's going on, guys? In this video I wanted to go over and discuss FTX 3 or the Forge, as it's also known on Fort Jackson. So Victory Forge, that type of thing. So it's a lot to remember, so I kind of made a list of the key points of what's going to be happening. This is your final event in basic training. It happens like the second week of blue phase, and yeah, I mean, after you do this, you're done pretty much. So you'll, leading up to the Forge, you'll take your final PT test, you'll take your blue phase testing and all that, weapons cleaning, all that. And then so we took our PT test on a Saturday and then stepped off for the Forge that Sunday. So basically an outline for the Forge, or FTX 3. I know people at Fort Sill just called it FTX 3, but at Fort Jackson it was called the Forge. So basically what it is, it's a 4-day field exercise. Like, you just go, so here, I'll just go over them. So it started off Sunday morning. We went to bed about 6 p.m. and then woke up at 10:30. Actually, we went to bed about 7 and woke up at 10:30, 22:30, and stepped off 2 hours later at 12:30 in the morning, so, or midnight, 12:30, and we stepped off for a 12-mile ruck march. This is a graduation requirement. 12-mile ruck march with I'd say probably 40 pounds of gear loaded in your ruck. And then so that takes all night. We stepped off at 12:30 and we arrived at our campsite, the first campsite at 5:30. So it was a about five and a half hour ruck march. It was rough on my feet, but I mean, it's if you're in shape, and you will be in shape by this point, you can handle it and you can keep up. So don't worry about that. For me, it sucked because it was literally like 29 degrees and windy and slight drizzle rain, so it was cold and wet, and we weren't allowed to wear our snivel gear, so that sucked. It was very cold, and you were just begging to step off again when you took like 3 breaks, 3 to 5 minute breaks, and every time you'd build up, you go a few miles and build up some warmth, and then you'd stop and get cold and just be begging to keep going. So after you finish your 12-mile march, you're going to get there and you're going to set up your perimeter. Your drill sergeants are going to gather you up, and form your 360, do whatever. So yeah, you're gonna, and then at that spot, that's where you're gonna set up your hasty fighting position. So we literally set up in this field full of grass and trees and stuff, and then we set up our hasty fighting position. This is not foxholes. A hasty is literally just like a 6-inch deep, just deep enough into the ground where you can lay down, and yeah, you and a buddy, you create like a V, and you'll just lay there. So you get there, that 12-mile ruck march, and then pull security. We finally got to put on our snivel gear, got an MRE, and then we spent all day working on our hasty fighting positions that first day. Hasty fighting positions, the platoon guide, made sure everybody was squared away that day, and yeah. And then that night rolls around, so during the day you're literally digging your hasty fighting position. Your drill sergeant will come around and say, nope, wrong, dig a new one, or whatever. And then that night, the nighttime rolls around, about 1900 in the evening, 1900, you'll step off for another march, probably 2 or 3 miles, and you'll go do battle drills. The first night we did battle drills all night, and like ambushes and how to react to contact. We probably did that till 2:30 in the morning. Got a MRE, and then got sent to bed. Now you're like, all right, that's not too bad. Well, we got sent to bed at 2:30 and we had to pull 50% security. So me and my buddy just decided to do 30-minute shifts. I slept 30 minutes, he'd sleep 30 minutes, and so on and so forth until about 6:30 in the morning. So that That first night you maybe got an hour and a half of sleep, and it was so cold you really couldn't get any sleep going. So yeah, day 2 comes around, you pull security and do personal hygiene for a few hours, and then we get our MRE, and then about 3:30 in the afternoon on day 2, we stepped off on a 3-mile stress carry. So basically we had all of these supplies and whatnot, and it was probably, so like MREs, there was like 200 boxes of MREs, ropes, gallon jugs of water, a generator. Between the company, everybody had something. It was pretty heavy. I strapped 2 MREs to my rucksack and just walked. And you do that for 3 miles, and then after the stress carry, you'll do a stress shoot. So you'll go to the range and shoot targets, and it's like a competition between your company. And then you ruck 3 miles back to your company, and then to your hideout spot. And on the way back, we did ambushes and stuff like that again. And then yeah, you get there, and then this night we actually got some sleep. We didn't have to pull 50-50 security. Were we supposed to? Alright, and then what are we on night 3? Night 3 is just another, you go do some obstacle courses, followed by another march. If you haven't noticed, there's a lot of marching. And then get back and go and pull security. Night 3 wasn't too bad. It was pretty chill, and it started warming up at this point. So yeah, and then we get to, during the day we're not doing a whole lot, in case you haven't noticed. So night 4 rolls around, and the final night. Now this one is loaded. So you step off for night 4 at probably 5:30, 17:30 in the afternoon. You're gonna do about a 3 or 4 mile tactical patrol in full battle rattle, and you're marching to a patrol course, a 2-mile patrol course, and you'll do like pugils and stuff there. And then immediately after that 2 miles and pugils, you're gonna go into Nick at Night and do Nick at Night, and then you're gonna have another 5-mile march or so to some obstacle courses. You're gonna do some obstacle courses for a couple hours, and then you're gonna march some more, do some more patrols, and then you're going to end up back at your company. So it doesn't sound like a lot, and it's really not a lot, but it is a lot of walking. Our drill sergeant's step count said we covered 57.3 miles in 4 days of just walking, not including walking back and forth around the Heidi area in the woods. So yeah, my feet had some blisters, my boots were pretty worn, but overall it's not too bad. There are some very tough moments. If you go in the winter, it's going to be cold. If you go in the summer, it's going to be hot and sweaty. But I mean, it's just a mental thing you got to get through. It really helps that this is the last thing that you do in basic, and that's what really motivates you to get through. At this point, you're like less than 2 weeks from family day, and that next week is just an administrative week, and you're practicing for graduation. So after your patrols and you end up back at the company, you'll go to rites of passage and don your beret. And at this time, you are officially considered a soldier. You're not a trainee anymore. And yeah, so that's the Forge, FTX 3, whatever you want to call it. Tough, yes. Doable, yes. We didn't have anybody fall out. We were the only company not to have anybody fall out. Other companies had like 10, 15 people fall out on the initial ruck march. And you will have those people that are like, oh, I gotta go to SIP call, blah, 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 blah. But other than that, just get through it, and you will have success. So if you got any questions, leave them down below, and I'll see you in the next video.